everyone, welcome to our Business Management Toolkit video. Today we're diving into simple linear regression, an essential statistical tool for analyzing relationship between two variables and making prediction. We'll be breaking it down step by step, covering key concepts like scatter diagram,
the correlation,
line of best fit,
extrapolation. By the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of how simple regressions works and why it is important in making decisions. So let's get started. Let's go!
Afan, what is scatter diagram?
A scatter diagram is a type of graph that shows relationship between two variables. Each pair on the graph represents an independent variables on the x-axis and a dependent variables on the y-axis. So it helps businesses to visualize the relationship between two variables. To do this, a business might plot the following figures showing different levels of spending and associated sales. Scatter graph.
So next, we could use a scatter graph to show a correlation between two variables. There are three situations to be considered. The first one is positive correlation. This is when the value of one variable increase as the other value increase. So for example, such an advertising spend. This shows a strong positive relation as both variables move in one direction.
So the second situation is called a negative correlation. This is when one variable increases while the other decreases. For example, the correlation between temperature and the sales of umbrellas.
So, the last and final situation is where there is no correlation at all. So, basically the data is scattered randomly with no clear pattern. So, for example, the graph shows the price of Coca-Cola and the sales of Mercedes. Yeah, no correlation at all. Unfortunately, correlation does not show causation. So basically knowing the cause and effect. Let's say from the first situation, it may seem like the firm received high sales because the enormous amount of money they spend on advertising. So the cost is the advertising and the effect is the high sales. However, in reality, the firm may increase the amount of budget they spend because of the high sales they receive. So the cost is the high sales and the effect is the advertising spend. So that's basically correlation in a nutshell. Moving on to the next.
When data is scattered on a chart, a manager may identify an underlying pattern and illustrate this in the form of a line of best fit. This is a straight line that goes through the points on the chart and best presents the relationship between points. A line of best fit is shown here. This line can be derived using statistical equations, but an approximation can be arrived at by looking at data and drawing a line that seems to best show the relationship.
Moving on to extrapolation. It is a statistical method where business predict their future values and sales by extending their past data patterns. It allows the business to forecast sales, profit, or other key metrics based on historical data analysis. We may illustrate this data method through the sales of data over time. First, we need to gather historical data for the past few months. It can be 3 or 4 months. Then, we need to plot on the graph and draw a trend line, which is line of best fit. However, extrapolation are only able to determine the data analysis for the short term due to external factors such as the existence of new competitors, market distribution, and some more.
YouTube is the second most popular search engine around the globe and provides an effective way of advertisement to capture consumers' attention. Around the mid of 2005, YouTube shared its first video and since that grew rapidly. By March 2019, YouTube crossed a number of 1.5 billion active monthly users. Due to many active users, it attracted the attention of different business and firms to spend more and more on advertising through YouTube.
Next is correlation. So figure 1 on the right shows a correlation between YouTube's advertising and its sales. And the figure 1 shows a positive relationship, meaning that when YouTube increases its money spent on advertising, their sales also increases.
Line of best fit is an underlying pattern usually illustrated by the manager to represent the relationship between the points on the chart. This line can be derived by the statistical equation below. According to the chart, we can see that the points are really spread around, so the manager used the line of best fit to them to plan what will they do in the next, and then to outcast the financial of the YouTube.
Now, let's talk about extrapolation, a statistical technique used to predict values beyond the given data. On the left, we see a scatter plot with a red dot representing data point. The black line is the line of best fit, which helps us to see the trend in the data. The line is drawn based on the relationship between the two variables. Now, let's look on the graph on the right. Here, we are using the trend from the first graph to predict a value beyond an observed data range. The dotted line shows an estimate point, and the yellow arrow highlights this prediction, which we call extrapolation.
And that wraps up our video on simple linear regression.
We have covered everything from scatter diagram to how regressions help in making predictions.
We hope this explanation made you clearer concept for you.
If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more educational content.
So if you have any question, feel free to drop your questions in the comments below.
Thank you for watching and see you in the next video!